When we got to Ray County Historic Museum, we went to the second floor to the band room. There was a woman in a yellow ankle-length dress with little blue flowers in the hall. She did not want to speak, but she was just watching. Then there was a little boy in the band room messing with the cat balls. He had on beige tan shorts, a navy blue jacket, and a hat. He had dark brown hair, and he said he was 7 from 1925. He did not have enough energy to speak for very long. We then migrated to the hall. There was a tall, lengthy teenage boy at the end of the hall near the Civil War room and Native American room. He was about as tall as the glass cabinet shown in this photo. He had on jeans, work boots, a gray jacket, and he also had brown hair. He was scared of everybody, and he kept trying to come down the hall, but he would run back because he got so scared. He was slowly creeping, and then something would spook him, and he'd run back to where he came from, and then he'd try it again, and he'd go back. That's it for the band room in the main hall, in the Ray County Historic Museum in the World War II room. There was 2 spirits, a male and a female. The male's name was Gregory. Gregory was in the army. They both kept mentioning Pearl Harbor. Gregory often spoke for the woman because I was having trouble understanding her through the Estes. Gregory kept saying he died in the service, in the army, and in the troop. He also asked who died, and then he replied to himself as us. He also mentioned something in the room belonged to him. Along with that, he kept mentioning a jacket. There were so many jackets, as you could see in the photo before, so we couldn't pinpoint which one was his. He gave us lots of intelligent responses and replied to us well. Both him and the woman were at Pearl Harbor. The woman kept mentioning in the back. She would say over and over, and it would get quieter each time. We found out she meant she was shot in the back. It went quiet for a little bit. None of them wanted to answer personal questions, only about their deaths, the army, and the war. In the doctor's office room doing Estes. There was 3 voices, one female who would randomly pop in, Chris, who had a really deep voice and fought in Vietnam. He was shot twice, and the doctors only got 1 bullet out, but he survived despite everything. And then there was Vincent, who was a male doctor. It was very easy to tell the difference between everybody because they had different voices. The woman's name was Elizabeth. She kept repeating her name over and over. We also discovered she's a nurse. It was hard to understand what she was saying because she would randomly pop in and nothing made sense. At one point, I even got touched on the ear and everybody was arguing about who did it. Chris would always say, "You did," to Vincent, and Vincent would always reply, "I did." Chris and Vincent were the primary speakers. The basement. I did Estes method in the basement. An important detail is that there's small jail cells in the basement that hosted juveniles and possibly women, but there also could have been more than that, we just aren't sure. When I did Estes, I picked up on 2 men and a woman, which is odd knowing who stayed in the jail cells. It sounded like they were talking to each other, almost like they were doing something they weren't supposed to or planning an escape. They kept mentioning the man is coming, the man, hide, whatever. I believe the man was whoever was in charge of looking after the prisoners down there. They also mentioned the bathroom that was right next to me to my left. I even felt like I was getting touched on the back of the head at one point. And an interesting detail is one of the men said, "We are dead," and the woman replies, "No, we're not." Those are the key details from this Estes.